Hey, good evening, everybody. It is time for our Tuesday Town Hall. Per always, if you have any questions that you want to ask, please feel free to drop them in the live chat. I will get to them as quickly as I can. Do note there's like a 30-second to a couple minute delay depending on, well, I don't know what it depends on, but there tends to be a delay every once in a while. So it has been a wonky week, and probably the most exciting thing I have to talk about today before there's questions is over the weekend I started calling through a lot of the volunteers who helped with the campaign and saying, we didn't prevail on the court case, so trying to process how we would move forward, or if we would move forward. And the most delightful thing happened. So a bunch of volunteers, pretty much everyone I talked to, said, well, I'm just going to write you in anyway. And I started thinking about that and processing that. And then also I started looking at our races, and the political landscape right now is very unusual for Maine. So we don't have an independent on the ballot in the first congressional race. We don't have an independent on the ballot in the second congressional race, second district congressional race. And the Senate race doesn't maybe have an independent either, certainly not the moderate independent that Maine is sort of known for producing, a la, Angus King and Elliott Cutler. That is just not present, and that is incredibly unusual. So Lisa Savage will be on ballot, but she's green. She's a Green Party candidate, and there's nothing wrong with that. The restrictions on how you have to run as a party candidate are very confining. So I don't fault her at all for running as an independent, but she's a party candidate, even though that's not how she's classified on the ballot. I'm not sure if Max Lynn is in or not, but he certainly leans a very different bend than I do. And sort of that classic, very moderate, reasonable, common sense independent is just gone from our ballot this year, and that is terrifying. So it is not any different than what I would be doing anyway. The only difference is I fill out one piece of paper, and let's give it a go. I started this with the intent of showing this is what it's like if you're an average middle class person who runs for office, and you just keep going. You figure out ways to keep going, and it is not feasible to do an appeal. The legal fees for an appeal would be between $20,000 and $50,000, and I'm telling you, as an average middle class person, I do not have a spare $20,000 to $50,000 to throw at that. And it is beyond my technical skill. It is an area of law I just don't work in, so I wouldn't be able to functionally do that. So we're going to keep going the way that we were doing before, and all we're doing differently is just say and write me in. So that means I'll be looking for volunteers, and anyone can volunteer. It doesn't matter where you are. Volunteer commitment, super low, 5 minutes a week. Interact on social media. Do things like the window sign. If you have the financial capacity, do a Maine raising once or twice a month. Write a letter to the editor, actually anywhere you are, and just tell them about Maine raising. Doesn't really matter where you are in the country. And just generally drive up engagement. And it's a very low cost, very easy way to funnel your frustration. If you find yourself frustrated by the two parties, if you find yourself struggling with the process and feeling left out, this is a really good place to channel your energy. And again, you can really do it from anywhere, which is awesome. I love that we have a virtual campaign and that it's very crowdsourced, and that works really well in a pandemic. So although it's unfortunate that I won't likely be listed on the ballot, this is probably the best possible environment for it, because we have a lot of leverage with most of us being stuck inside with the pandemic. Speaking of the pandemic and moving on to more current events, apparently the president of our country, again, is plugging drugs that are proven not to be effective for COVID-19. Please make sure to correct any disinformation that you hear. Please do not take anything that is not prescribed for you from a doctor. And please do not try drugs that are proven to not work. It's just It's a bad idea. Don't do it. Hydrochloroquine does not work for COVID-19. It does work for some coronaviruses, and it has been pointed out before, but there is no proven efficacy on this particular variant. So, please pay attention to medical professionals, not to somebody who is most definitely not a medical professional. Other things that have gone on this week. Bill Barr testified for Congress. I did not have the opportunity to see that. I've been busy working away. I've actually been incredibly busy since Saturday morning, so I haven't had a whole lot of time to keep up on every single issue. It does look like COVID-19 is growing, and we're up to pretty consistently about 1,000 deaths a day. We have massive growth in many cities. I do recommend, if you have young children that are in school, please plan ahead. Plan that even if your schools are going to be in session, that you may need to very swiftly switch to remote learning, because even if COVID-19 doesn't make an appearance in your school, we still don't have a good handle on testing, and given the ratios of how many cases there are and how few tests there are, and that there's still a delay in most places, it sounds like, of about 5 to 8 days to get test results. That means anytime that any child comes to school, there's a real likelihood that they'll have to shut the school down and disinfect, or at least the areas that the child came into contact with. And that's just for the common cold, because we won't know for probably 5 to 8 days if it's a case of COVID. So even if your school does open, just be prepared. Make sure you have backup plans. The Republicans released their new aid package. I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but the snippets that I have seen doesn't look like it's going to be helping us much. We're pretty much on our own. Unemployment is, the bump in unemployment's expiring or has expired, and it's going to get brutal. So be kind to everybody. If you have the financial resources to spend, please spend at local businesses. Please try to support your community. If you have the ability to donate to small shelters and not-for-profits and food banks, please do, because unfortunately, when Congress checks out and your president is not competent, it's left to us. So I hope that come January, we get a much more competent set of people there, and we can get ourselves to a better space. I don't have a whole lot today because it's been a pretty short, fast, chaotic few days since Saturday. So find me online. I'm going to keep this one real short. It doesn't look like there's been any questions. As things clear off my plate towards the end of the week, we'll try to have a little bit more commentary on social media about current events. And if you have any questions, you know how to find me. If you'd like to volunteer, please send me a message through the website or on social media. The website is bond4.me. And you can always find me on Twitter at Tiffany Bond. I'm happy to connect with you. And, if there's a whole bunch of us that will put in 5 to 10 minutes a week, I think we've got a really great shot at transforming how politics works. Thank you.